And we are live, ladies. How are you? How is everyone this very rainy Sunday afternoon?
It's not raining here. It's actually pretty
Uh,
Well, it's cloudy here and very
um,
humid.
I
So,
will see.
nice. Yeah,
I'm going to give a few people minutes to get into the room, just in case we have some live watchers today,
right.
and then have everybody get a chance to post and share.
Let me try to get in and share.
Yeah, you gotta share.
Because I did not share yet. I did not. But Taryn, that humidity would be good for my fro. I'm just letting you know.
yeah, for your hair, like the moisture and the.
Oh, yeah. But eat that up. Totally eat that up. So, all right. I think we have like a couple people in the room.
Yes, we do. All righty. So, I am going ahead and get started and introduce everyone to us. So, we are Kingdom Kinesis, and welcome to our page. And we are here to inspire women to action through partnership with God, partnership with self, and partnership with community. We go live Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 2 p.m. Central for my Central folk. And thanks for meeting us here today. And I am going to turn it over to Katrina so she can introduce our very, very, very special guest. So everybody get your mouths all together because we're going to be talking about treats and all kinds of stuff.
I know. Hey, guys. Thanks for meeting us today. Actually, we're in for a very sweet surprise. As Christina said, we have the founder and CEO of Sweet Petit Desserts, Ms. Taryn Kennebrew, in the house, who's going to be speaking with us a little bit about her journey as an entrepreneur and also a third-generation baker, right?
Ooh,
Got that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Right. Well, Taryn, let me shut my big mouth up and be quiet and say welcome to Kingdom Kinesis. Please tell our followers a little bit about yourself and your entrepreneurial suite, because you have a suite.
Yeah, it's been a fun, I guess, a fun ride. My life is always full of adventure, and yeah. So my background actually is in information systems, and I have a minor in accounting. I graduated from North Carolina Central University, located in Durham, North Carolina. So Eagle Pride. So yeah, I have always been a lover of numbers, and I love business. And so getting my degree in information systems was really a perfect marriage to basically blend business and numbers. But me looking at becoming an entrepreneur was really not something that was on my radar. I hadn't even given it a thought. I did not have really any entrepreneurs that I was following or that I really knew. Like I had one uncle who had a business, but I never really talked to him about it. So I never even put the two together when I started looking at becoming an entrepreneur, because he's been deceased for many years. But what led me down the track really of baking was my grandmother. It was something that we've always done. I grew up with her in my earlier years. My mom and I lived with my grandmother. And so this was our thing to do. So baking really is something that is so natural to me. And I thought this is what people do. And I quickly found out that this is not something that people just do, right? So what I ended up doing in the process of doing this business is I started teaching. I developed a passion for teaching a few years back, and it was just a natural progression for me to start teaching. So, we can talk about many things. I have many things that have happened in my earlier, I guess, career. I'm a Army veteran. That was something that I aspired to do, and I served in the National Guard for 7 years. I was fortunate because I got out like right when Desert Storm, so that tells you how old I am. Desert Storm really started to pick up, and I was grateful because my even though when you join the military, your first priority is to serve your country, and it's about protecting your country, and you're trained, that's like your first training. But I didn't, for a young person, join to fight a war. So I was so happy that I got out when I did. But it was a great experience. It taught me many things. First and foremost, it taught me teamwork and discipline, because you have to have the two, go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So yeah, that's kind of sort of it in a nutshell, I guess.
I love it. And I want to back up here, backtrack, because you said something that's so important. I think a lot of people kind of miss this or experience this. Let me say that. The tendency to discount a skill or a passion because you think it's the norm. You grew up with it being the norm and it's innate. So you discount it. You think that you can't necessarily flip it into something that's able to be monetized and make it a business. And so when did that like switch, that light switch turn on in your head and your brain there, where you said, wait a second, everyone cannot do this. I can actually turn this into profit for myself. And let me just say, I'm one of your biggest fans, okay? If you've never had her pistachio macaroons, all I'm gonna say is you need to order some. We'll talk about that later. But what happened? What brought that about?
Yeah, so I was in corporate, and my corporate background, I was an IT specialist. And so I worked for IBM. And then I did one of my most challenging jobs, which was sales. And I will say, to me, I feel like if you can sell anything, that is so key for any entrepreneur, because you have to be able to sell yourself and be able to sell your product or service. So I ended up basically getting laid off. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I couldn't go out look for another job because I was 8 months pregnant, right? And I had to, what we I had to recreate myself, or become an innovator and figure out, okay, what am I going to do next? And so I did try a few jobs, and I'm grateful that I have a lot of skills and that I can do a lot of things well, but nothing stuck. So I had a dinner with a friend of mine. And at the time, candy tables was huge. And so we were talking, and I was, explaining to her how much I love to bake. And we were just having this conversation. And she simply said to me, Taryn, you should sell your desserts. And I looked at her like she had like 5 million heads, right? And I'm like, what? Like, I bake? Who wants to do that, right? So, but what was so profound about that was it literally stuck with me. It settled like deep in my spirit. It resonated. And from that moment, I never looked back. My husband and I ended up taking a anniversary trip out to San Diego. And my cousin who lives out there, she is a huge dessert person. She didn't know any of this. She ended up, she and her husband took us to a place called Extraordinary Desserts. This woman, her name's Karen. She is a phenomenal pastry chef. And I was so fascinated. I'm such a people watcher. That's one of the things that I love to do, is watch people. So we went to this restaurant. So if you can imagine Cheesecake Factory, and it's nothing but dessert. And so people were lined up. Yes, exactly. It's like I died and went to heaven, right?
Right.
People were like lined up to get into this place, but we had reservations. And I sat there and literally watched just how people were interacting. And granted, you're in San Diego, it's a different scene out there than it is in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is much slower. But it just really sat with me. And during that trip, we had to do a connection in Atlanta. And when I tell you, God literally started downloading my whole business to me. I wrote out the name of the business. He gave me the name of the business, what I should specialize in, how I should really set this thing up. I wrote all of this on a napkin. And I will tell you, God speaks to all of us, but I had never had God speak to me in this way. Wow. But I believe that because I was so at the time I was so in purpose and trying to figure out what was I supposed to do. Because at the time too, I was kind of still beating myself up with, God, I went to college for information systems. I left a corporate job where I was making a lot of money. And I'm like, now I have what? So I was still kind of really in that transitional stage, from a career aspect, and just, obviously becoming a mom, still relatively newly married, so you have all of these parts that are coming into play. But I felt so just focused when he just laid it out for me. And I literally just followed what he told me to do.
Wow.
And ever since then, so that was in 2009, I have not looked back, literally. So I've been doing this business almost, well, August will make 11 years that I've been doing this. So it's crazy.
So real quick here, because I'm listening to you, and it's so formulaic how you expressed it, right? Like a true baker, because literally you talked about your friend who made the suggestion, and then that was combined with the evidence and example that you saw out in California, and then you received the download and the confirmation, and you literally put that all together to bake up Sweet Petits, or your business. And I just think that, first of all, that's so amazing. And you continue to use that formula to this day, because I recall a Facebook post that you posted recently with regards to hearing the Lord tell you that you needed to do a show. And
yes.
Okay. Okay. Like, this is the formula. These are the ingredients that work for me. And so I think it's amazing that, like you said, you kept moving forward and you didn't look back, because he showed himself in such a mighty way. He's proven to you that, hey, this is your area. This is your arena. I got your back. Go.
That is so true. And it's hard. I mean, this has been a process, right? When I decided to give my life to Christ, like fully give my life to Christ, that happened in 1998. I was just about to graduate from college. So I was a later student, obviously, since I had gone to the military and did all those things. And when I asked God, when he showed me who he was then, it has just been over the years taking me higher and higher in my faith.
Wow.
And so, one of the things, part of that is, and I know this for sure, is that the introvert side of me, because I spend so much time with myself and I cherish that, I can hear him just way more clearly. And I don't have a problem with that. And even now, when I have issues that come up, when I feel challenged, I don't talk to people about it. And as much as I love my husband and we are the best of friends, I trust God, because I know that he's going to show me, and I expect him to, because when I pray to him, I expect for him to give me the results, just my way of thinking. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't always been that way. But again, because he has shown me time and time again, that he is the way, I really do stay true to that and hold on to it. And so when I decided to then do the show, right, because this is really a desire of my heart. So I wasn't sure if it was really and he will give you the desires of your heart. But I said, God, even in doing that, I want it to be impactful. I want it to be what you want it to be. And so when he nudged me to do it, I wasn't fully confident in doing it, but I live by obedience is better than sacrifice. My mother-in-law told me that years ago, and so anytime I'm like stuck between, should I do it, shouldn't I do it? She said to me, if God told you to do it, obedience is better than sacrifice. And at the time, I remember her telling me that, and I can't remember what the situation was, but it actually kind of ticked me off, but it's stayed with me. You know how you hear your parents' voice, and obviously she's my in-law, so she's a parent. And, I just recently told her that, and she was like, oh my God. I'm like, yes, I hear your voice so clearly say to me, obedience is better than sacrifice. So I said, all right, God, we're going to do it. If only one person shows up. And now we're 4 classes in. I actually have my 5th class today after at 5 o'clock today. So, and that's an actual scheduled, somebody paid me to do this class. And I was like, shut the front door.
Wow.
So,
Right.
Okay.
I am so grateful. It's, I tell people all the time, the relationship that you invest in putting in that time with God, He knows your heart. He knows you. He's going to work with you. He's going to meet you where you are. And so, I truly do lean on God, and He shows favor. I could just weep right now, but I'm going to stop because I want to keep
Goodness.
the little bit of makeup
Oh
I
my
got
goodness.
on.
Do it, girl.
Okay. So I am literally over here trying to hold my peace because you said a whole bunch of different things. And when you going back, when you said some of those things, what I remember, what I go back to in scripture is the three men that had the three talents. So one of them got one talent, the other one got two, and the other one got five. And so they went out with those talents and multiplied them. And so when you told me, because I didn't know any of this stuff, I just thought, okay, this is Taryn, she's a baker. But when you start saying, well, oh, I have a background in accounting, and then I did some IT, and I did some sales, and then I have this gift of baking. You basically have all of these different talents that you can use to create this one great business. And so that,
Yes.
I mean, really. And so I kind of wanted us to talk, how did you use some of those other pieces? Because I know you've had to figure this out,
Yes.
sales. Okay, how do I get my customer base? Okay, I have a sales background. Okay, I need to get my money in order. Okay, I understand about accounting. Okay, I need to get my systems together. I understand a little bit about tech. Can you just kind of talk to us about that? Because there's some people who has all these different skills, me included, and sometimes you have a hard time trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Like, I can use this. I don't have to be an accountant to do this. I just have to have the skill. Can you just talk about
Yes.
that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you, it's so crazy. Yeah. So in that process of when God revealed to me the name of the business and all of those things, then He showed me, and I did weep. I said, "Oh my gosh, I can do this." So, obviously when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have discipline. You don't have like this rah-rah team, even though my husband is he and my daughter are my cheerleaders, but he's not like, get up, girl, come on, let's, get him. No, you have to be self-motivating, right? So just to have, the discipline, and the military really taught me that, like, being disciplined, being focused. Then it also told me you need a team. So I had to figure out, okay, how much money do I have? Who are my top team players, right? So the first thing I did was I got an accountant, even though I knew how to do my own bookkeeping, but I set all of that up. Because what I will say to this is, when you're a business owner, you need to know about every single aspect of your business. You don't have to take it on, but you need to understand it. And that's your money. You need to know your money backwards and forwards, inside and out. What's coming in, what's going out. You need to flat out need to know that. So I got an accountant, I got a payroll company. So those are my top two. I had mentors prior to this, so I kept my mentors. They were very strategic in helping me with that. The whole piece with me knowing, having the background in information systems. So one of the things that I did was my client was AK Steel. And so for any handheld devices and things like that, I did like the layouts. So I understood how to build a website. So all of the websites that I have had, I have done them myself.
Wow.
And it's not the greatest, but it's from a lens that I understand, because I know that I know how I want it to look, and being on the customer end of it too, because anytime I used to build things in corporate, I had to understand it from a customer standpoint,
right.
Trying to break it and making sure that, the text and the pictures, all the things, all the parts need to come across very well, because you're selling this stuff from a visual, and people eat with their eyes. So understanding all of that. Then, gosh, it was just fascinating to me that I had gained all these skills, but I knew it was because of my journey, right? And one of the things that I love about my mom is she has never told me I couldn't do something. She just supported any and everything that I wanted to do. So I was never afraid to not do something. She wasn't a parent like, you can't do that, you can't accomplish that. It's like, go for it. I'm behind you, and not that, because we got to look at it like this. Our parents only know what they know. And
Right.
she could have she's my mom is a person that grew up in the 50s and the 60s. So you can only imagine that time, she didn't, my mom went to community college, but she didn't have a, 4-year degree. So really, I was the first, person in my family to get a college education. And so, she was just like, go for it. And so I never had those boundaries on me. And so it allowed me to really just live my life and explore and try some things. And I mean, I'm just one of those people anyway. I'm like, I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work out, at least I tried it.
Right. Exactly.
And so I really do try to impress that upon individuals. Like, I'm not saying go crazy, but at least dip and dab into it enough to know if you need to go forward or not. But again, I was truly amazed when God revealed me to me. I was like, I'm a bad girl. I'm God. And we have to believe that, right, in ourselves. We have to be confident in everything all the things that we have acquired and that we have done. We have to believe that first, because if we wait for other people to give us validation, it may never come.
Exactly.
So I did the research. I went out. I knew from a vision standpoint the type of customer I wanted. So those are the bakeries that I started to investigate. And once I figured that out, I just put it all together. I did all of my pricing because I understood numbers, right? So that's huge. Like, you have to understand how much you need to sell your stuff for. And so when I did all of that, it was a no-brainer. It was just, I've been amazed at myself. Like, you're in the midst, I'm doing all the work. But until like moments like this, do I really realize like, oh my gosh, because I don't sit and talk about myself. You know what I mean? I'm just doing the work and just trying to stay strategically focused and really stay in my lane and understand what my lane is and not be all over the place, because it's critical when you're building something. And I consider myself building an empire. That's how I look at Sweet Petit Desserts. You have to understand the lane that you're in and how you can add extensions of that to what it is that you originally started. Okay, and I'm gonna stop.
No, that's good. Speaking of extensions, you were in the process of opening up a coffee shop.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, so I have a girlfriend, Crystal. And so Crystal and we go back to high school. And I think what sparked that was she owns a spa, and then I own Sweet Petit. And so we both love people and love taking care of people and service, right? So I called her up and I said, we need to do something together. And I think that came off the heels of me watching a lot of Black women just doing the darn thing. And a lot of conversation was around collaboration and how powerful collaboration is and how we can bring communities together and things like that. And so I called her up, said it to her, and she was like, I have the perfect project. And we both love coffee. We love coffee shops. We always eat together and go out, and that's how she and I kind of really bond over food and coffee and drinks and things like that. And so she showed me this coffee shop, and it's been on like, so we're opening like in 2 weeks. We were supposed to have our grand opening. Yes. So we're supposed to have our grand opening March the 21st, but we didn't get to have it because of COVID. And now we're getting ready to, so yeah, you guys are the first to hear it live. I will be posting some things about it. And the coffee shop is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm excited. We're both excited to open this space. It's like no other coffee shop in the city. And yeah, we're going to create some real magic with that. So,
oh my God, can you put some of that magic in a box and just send it to me?
I'm excited about that.
That means Katrina and Christina, y'all have to come to Cincinnati when time permits, and we will take very good care of you both. So
I'm so excited about that.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. Chris, go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that was okay. First of all, you're like my kindred spirit. And I say that because I'm an entrepreneur myself. And so everything that you were saying, I'm like, yep. But you had to kind of learn that yourself. Unfortunately, I'm the same as you. I didn't come from an entrepreneurial background where people was like, okay, you do this and you do this and you do that. You do this and then don't do that and don't do this. So, since you've kind of gone through this journey, can you just give us like a couple of lessons that you've learned as an entrepreneur that you would like to share with others who are like on the journey or in between the journey, in the journey like me, because we can always learn something, right?
Right.
Yeah. So one of the 3 lessons, I have 3 lessons that I would like to share. And I wanted to make sure I wrote these down because I wanted to make sure that I gave some, just to be transparent, let's just say that. So one of them would be you need to do your research. Like, it's so critical for people when you decide to pick a thing that you choose to do your research. And that can mean not just in being an entrepreneur, but even in corporate. If your goal is to be a director or whatever that is, do your research. How do you get there? Who do you need to have mentor you, or who do you need to be connected to? Because your network, it literally is priceless. Those relationships that you build. I mean, I am just probably in the last 3 years really understand how rich my network is and how people have been waiting for me to ask for their help or their assistance in some way, right? And so, do the research, understand in your area where this fits in, and if it really and truly is a viable business, and how will you set your business apart from all the other businesses that may be like yours. Crucial, just very critical. The other thing I would say is be in a healthy financial situation. Just don't jump out there and you don't have your house in order. It's just, you're going to set yourself up for chasing money. And anytime any entrepreneur does something, passion needs to exceed the financial blessing of it all. Because if you become financially driven, that's going to be your focus, not your passion. And you're going to get burnt out and you're going to give up. And being an entrepreneur, this is, it's a process. It takes time. And so it's not an overnight success unless you just have, those connections already in place, or you have have money to really support that. But most entrepreneurs don't have those things. And so, it's a journey. It really and truly is a journey. And it's about timing and all of those things. And then finally, I would just say, again, to trust the process. As you embark on a journey. Again, it's a journey, and there's so many lessons that you have to learn. I didn't have all of the access that we have now when I started my business 10 years ago. And so a lot of things I really did have to just rely on the skills that I had. And I do believe that this is why God spoke this into my life, because he really let me know, like, you have everything that you need right now to do this.
Right.
But he also reminds me to make sure that I share this too, right? So this is not for me to hold on to. This is for me to pass on to the next person so that they can be even greater than I am, and to not have certain missteps. And so it's a matter of making sure that, again, you build those relationships, nurture them, and hopefully you will, the entrepreneur or the mentor, whoever takes on that role, will then make that commitment to make sure that they are successful.
Awesome. That's good. That's good, Taryn. And we really appreciate your feedback and all the wisdom that you just shared. Before we go, because we're out of time, because
I'm like, what?
It goes by really fast, especially when we lean in and we're like, but how can our followers get some of your goodies? Please tell us.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of creating an online store because we have a brick and mortar, right? So I'm going to be creating that in the next couple of weeks because we'll be doing a lot of online sales. So they can reach me at sweetpetitdessert.com. We do have a store there now, but it is very limited to gift cards and baking kits. But there will be all of our treats, and we can, in fact, do shipping for some of those items. So that'll happen by June 6th. Then you can also connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Sweet Petit Desserts. So I did try to make it really, keep it simple.
Keep it simple, right?
So yeah.
Awesome. And actually, Taryn is so sweet that she decided to bless one of our followers today with a half an hour business consult or coaching session with her. So in order to enter this giveaway, just please input your favorite recipe in the comment section, and Taryn will go through the list and connect with the winner for her half-hour consult, which is amazing. Thank you so much, Taryn, for the giveaway. We really appreciate that. Chris, Chris, you got anything?
That is it. I'm so over here just compressing all the stuff that she said. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring you back because you opened some stuff and I wanted to go right on through it.
I think what we need to do, Chris, is actually just go visit her and go live. And that's going to work because we're moving from the page to the group. And so we want to build community and have more interaction with everybody. And we'll be announcing that throughout the week so everyone can plan to make that change and transition with us. But Taryn, I think we're going to have to come visit you and go live.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, I would love that. I love what you ladies are doing. And I don't do many talks, if you will, but when I do them or when I say yes, again, it's purpose driven. So I need to make sure that I'm in a space where people will receive whatever it is that God would have me to say. So,
I received it.
So yeah, so if we need to do a 2-on-2, just I would be happy to answer any other questions outside of this space with you too. So
absolutely. That's great. Taryn, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. To all our listeners, our followers, thank you for joining us today as well. Join us next Sunday on the 24th at 3 p.m. We're actually going to be tackling entrepreneurship and behavioral health with licensed mental health counselor Katrina Bell. So until then, remember you are essential to the kingdom of God, Kingdom Woman, and stay on the move.
Stay on the move. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.